Hello, Jordan. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, thank you, Guy. It's a pleasure to be back on.
Well, it's good to have you back on. How you doing up north?
We've had a good sunny few days, but today, unfortunately, it's started raining. They've been blasting us with clouds in the sky.
Oh, bless them. They're very kind, aren't they? They've
Yeah,
they've got our best interests at heart.
yeah, yeah.
They've got our best interests at heart. So today we're going to be talking about giants.
Yes, yes, we are.
You've been doing a little bit of digging, and I know you're getting a bit of a library on the go now, aren't you? You've got loads
Yeah,
of old books and references.
yeah, and it's only getting older, my collection. Currently now, my oldest book is 1738, but so I've got one getting restored at the moment that's from 1695.
Wow. What's that
That
called?
I'm not exactly sure on the name. I have to double check, but it's a gazetteer like the other ones, a geographical index.
Yes.
So that'll be very exciting to see
Yes.
through
Oh,
that.
that's brilliant. Well, I look forward to hearing about that then.
I
Because
should have it about end of month.
right, they're not long. We
No,
um we sort of talk about giants quite a bit, don't we? It comes up in photographs and stuff. Whenever we're talking about Tartaria, we see images of giants. We think of giants. We look at the huge doors and the windows that are too high for us to look out of. But it's not something that I've actually done a podcast or an in-depth video about. So it's a kind of this is a first, and I think it's something people are interested in.
yeah,
Like I said to
certainly
you
is.
before I hit record, especially people that buy and consume Himalayan salt.
Yeah.
I wonder if they know what actually they're ingesting.
You take a look at a picture of the mines where they've come from, and it seems very clear what it is.
Mm, yeah, I've seen some large lumps of
Yeah,
Himalayan salt be removed, and it looks like a rack of ribs.
yeah, it does.
You
It
can
is.
clearly see what it is.
If you've not seen pictures of it, then you can't comprehend how similar it looks. To say we think it's just salt.
Yeah,
But it looks much different than sea salt.
yeah. If only people knew exactly what it was. Well,
Yeah,
it makes you wonder whether or not it would put them off using it, or whether or not they'd see that there are actual benefits to using it still. I don't know.
I don't think if it is giant blood and part and giants in general, I don't think that'll bother most people in this current day and age.
No, no,
So everyone
especially.
seems to be desensitized.
Yeah, yeah, and I think if you're prepared to eat McDonald's or KFC or something, then, you know,
Yeah,
I mean, ultimately, people are starting to become more suspicious about what's in fast food, and I think we
yeah,
kind of, I don't know what we can and can't say on YouTube, but I think most people know that, well, most people that are going to watch this will know that
oh
there's
yeah,
something in McDonald's that perhaps would make us cannibals without knowing.
yeah.
Hmm.
It doesn't take much looking into either to find the answers.
Yeah, yeah, I think the amount of cows they would need to produce the amount of burgers they put out doesn't stack up.
Yeah, you just need some basic maths, and then you can crack
Yeah,
it. But there's something funky going on. Anyway, we're going on a bit of tangent
d
here, aren't we?
definitely is. Yeah, so obviously giants, for me, it goes back to the beginning of time, the Nephilim. That was Genesis 6:4 and
Yeah,
Numbers 13:33, but it didn't state a size. And then the Anakim, again, numbers and I can never pronounce it, but it's Deuteronomy. That didn't say, it just says very tall or men of great size,
yeah.
descendants of Anak, associated with the Nephilim. So we know from biblical terms that, the Nephilim and the Anakim were giant. But of course, it's considered to be almost mythology.
Myth, yeah. Well, we got to think back to the first time you ever heard of a giant, and that for me has got to be Jack and the Beanstalk.
Jack and the Beanstalk,
It's a
yeah.
child's story. So when you're a child, you've already got when you think about it, they're already implanting you. They're telling you about giants, but it's just a fairy tale. It's just a story. So
Mm,
already from when you're young, you've got that idea that it's not real. It's just a story. So
mm.
you don't. Well, for me. until now, my later years. I never really looked into it further. Like you see them on films and stuff, and I never thought about it. It's just giants. But recently, since looking into Tartary really and reading my books, I've found numerous references to giants. I mean, these are geographical dictionaries. They're not
Mm,
fictional books. They're not made to tell stories. They're just
mm,
made to inform the reader of places in the world.
yeah,
There's no reason to mention anything fictional. Well, some of the references say, I'll show them up after when we go through some
yeah,
photos. But just locations where the first discoverers found giants and stuff like that. It's very interesting. So I will look into giants a bit more. And yeah, like I said, with the Nephilim and Greek mythology, they have the Titans.
yes,
And Zeus, Atlas, and Hercules are all depicted, all the statues, they are very large.
mm,
And the Titans in Greek mythology could be another version of the Nephilim.
yeah, yeah, could well be. Yeah, because obviously that like you said with Jack and the Beanstalk, we are
Mm.
introduced to them from a very young age, but they always come across as being evil or nefarious.
Yeah,
Not,
yeah,
but I don't think that that's going to be the case. I just think that whenever there is something they don't want us to associate with, or they don't want us to, you know, when they want to discredit something, the
yeah.
easiest way to do that is to say that they're evil.
Yeah, just paint a terrible picture of them. Yeah, and they
Yeah,
do.
like they've done with dragons,
Yeah,
and we got the story in the Bible of David and Goliath, and how do we
yeah,
know really which one was good and which one was bad? It's always the giant that seems to be, you know, the bad guy,
yeah,
so to speak. But yeah, in obviously the Titans, Typhon in Greek, Cyclops. There are a few, I think, and they appear everywhere, not just in Greek mythology, but we got biblical giants, mythological giants, Greek, Norse, Irish.
yeah. Every region in the world has stories
Yeah,
of giants and giant bones
yes,
found.
yeah.
A
Which
lot
I
of
think
places. Yeah,
I think the giant bones, when they find a giant femur or something like that, then they'll say, well, that was part of a dinosaur, and I think that they've
probably
been
dinosaurs.
used
Yeah,
to create
I
those.
totally agree. Well,
Yeah,
especially when you see these old newspaper articles from like the late 1800s, early 1900s. I've got a few of them to show as well.
yeah,
But most of them mention that the Smithsonian are coming and they've
yes,
purchased the bones. And then you what now? Where are the bones?
yeah.
No, where are the bones?
The Smithsonian's are really good at hiding things. They often people have contacted them to find out what happened to something that they, or perhaps someone before them, maybe a parent or grandparent, gave to the Smithsonian's Institute, and they'll say that they've lost it, or it's in a building that's got an asbestos issue.
You can't go in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and they do that all the time, and they've buried so much. I'd love to get in there. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller, I
Yeah.
think that's the actor. The one of them is based at the Smithsonian's, and
Yeah.
that's fascinating. Abraham Lincoln gets up, and he's the huge stone
Yeah.
statue of yeah, and he gets up and sort of gets involved, gets stuck in.
I've
Uh,
not seen it for a while. I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah, yeah, it's worth watching that. I watched it again yeah, recently, but everything's in plain sight. It's a little bit like I'm gonna go off at a tangent again. It's a bit like Back to the Future. When you
Yeah.
watch Back to the Future and the first film, and they rig up it's an incredible Tartarian building with a clock tower.
Yeah.
They rig it up so when the lightning hits the top of the tower, they can charge the flux
Oh,
capacitors,
yeah.
blah blah blah.
Yeah. I never even thought of that before,
It's all in plain sight.
Yeah.
Energy from the ether and a Tartarian building. It's all there
Yeah.
if you want to see it.
You got to
So,
have the bright eyes for it, aren't you?
yeah, and I think that it's. I have this conversation quite a lot with people. If you could go back to some of the places you've seen over the years with what you know now,
Oh,
you
it'd be
would,
totally different, wouldn't it? Totally different.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'd see everything in a different light, wouldn't you? So, what have you got to share with us then? What have you been digging?
Well, quite a few things recently. But in terms of giants, Ralph Glidden. Don't know if you've heard of Ralph Glidden.
No, Ralph Glidden.
Well, in the 1800s, he had his own museum, and he found a lot of giant bones on Catalina Island, near off the coast of California. And he claimed to have found, and there's a lot of newspaper clippings I can show you later. Claimed to have found over 3,000 skeletons, but
What?
the average height of these skeletons was 7 to 9 feet tall.
What happened to them? Do we know? Is that Smithsonian's again? Do we
Well,
know?
when he died, he sold his collection for $5,000 because no one wanted to buy it, and no one knows what's left. No one knows where it is. So probably the Smithsonian. All that they found, I think, a few years later in a museum near Catalina Island, where he had a box. They found a box, and in that box were some old photographs. And there's a couple photographs of him next to dig sites where he's got pictures of him next to the bones still in the ground, so you can see them. But yeah, Ralph Glidden,
Bloody hell.
very interesting.
I've not heard of that one. That's fantastic.
And he was under the assumption that living on that island was an ancient race of giant people.
I've I don't know if you remember, but I talked about the Solomon Islands in my first
Yeah,
book, and there was a story about there being, well, not necessarily a story, but this is what the tribes there, the indigenous people on Solomon Islands used to say all the time, that there were giants that once roamed freely, but something happened and they all went into caves. They all went kind of underground,
yeah,
and there was one particular girl that one day she was taken.
mm,
I think in the middle of the night she was taken, and they assumed that she'd, they knew the giants. These elders knew that the giants had taken her,
yeah,
but they assumed that was it. They weren't going to see her again. And about 3 years later, she came back into the village one evening, and she just looked horrific. She was in a really
yeah,
bad state, sort of catatonic. Um, she couldn't talk anymore. She was almost. It was almost like she'd gone feral, I suppose, for want of a better.
yeah,
And what they realised, what they could see straight away, is that she was pregnant, and
yeah. Well,
she stayed with the elders. She stayed with the village, and they knew that a giant had sex with her, and this baby was born prematurely. It was big. It was in quite an
yeah,
ordeal getting the baby out,
yeah.
but it was
I could
obviously
well
premature.
imagine. Yeah,
It was born prematurely, fortunately, so she could actually deliver it. And it didn't look right. Red hair, shocking
mm,
red hair, green eyes, and just looked very different. And it grew quickly. And by the time it was sort of 3 or 4 years old, it was big.
yeah,
And one of the elders killed it.
yeah. I think I've heard that before. Yeah, it's
And they said,
very interesting.
well, they said to the elder, like, why did you do that? Why did you kill the child? And he said, because I didn't want history to repeat itself. And this was written about by an Australian helicopter pilot.
Yeah,
He'd gone out to the Solomon Islands and kind of joined the tribe, if you like, there,
mm,
and settled with them. And he wrote a book, and he wrote a book about the giants and about the stories, and this girl in particular. You can buy it. I can't remember what it's called, but I did reference it in my book. But it's something you can get on Amazon, and this is quite recent.
yeah.
Yeah, this isn't like years and years ago. This is relatively recent.
I have to look into that. I have to get my hands on that book. I think is that a
So
read?
I always think when I think of giants, I instantly see red hair,
Well,
like
you
Gilgamesh.
mentioned that. Yeah. Have you heard of Lovelock Cave?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What they found the stories about Red Lovelock Cave are that there were giants with red hair,
Mm,
and I've got a photo to show later of the handprint that's left in there because the story goes that they blocked the entrance and set them on fire inside.
Yeah.
And there looks to be a charred handprint on one of the rocks.
Oh, wow.
So I got a photo of that to show after.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, do you want to show us what you've got now? I mean, if you've got anything you want to share, far away.
Yeah. Right. Got to do this now. Oh, there we go.
I'm never any good at screen sharing.
Are we on?
No. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Right. I'll go portrait.
Oh, brilliant. That's great.
That better.
Yeah.
Which is, here we go.
It's hard to do it, isn't it, without actually showing everybody your entire bloody library.
Yeah, I know. I thought I was on it already. But here is the quote. So these are from a book called The Gazetteer or Newsman's Interpreter by Lawrence Eckard, 1938. So this were the first reference I came across in terms of giants. In a place called Emims, where a race of giants dwelling east of the desert of Paran. So Emims are the race of giants, it sounds like,
Yeah.
living in the deserts, just east of the deserts. And then this other reference, just put that there so the viewers can pause it and read them if they'd like. And this one here, I'll get rid of you.
Patagonia.
There we go. Patagonia, a vast country in South America which reaches to the from the Straits of Magellan to the I don't know what that would be. Oh, rivers, the River La Plata. The first discoverers found giants here.
Christ.
So what else? That only means one thing, exactly what it says. But
Yeah.
we never taught about anything like this.
No, we're not. No, we are well, we're kind of brainwashed into thinking that they're mythological. They don't exist.
Yeah, it's just fairy tales. And this is in a
Huh.
different book. This
Big
I've got
Bone Creek.
Big Bone Creek. If it isn't what exactly what it's called, I'm going to show you in a minute. But this is in a different book. This one is, I think this is the Universal Gazetteer by John Walker,
Yeah.
1798. So getting a bit older, a bit newer, sorry. But big, there we go. Big bone lakes lie on each side. So this is a salt. This is describing. This is in Ohio. Salt banks. So you can just read through there. The interesting bit gets as we get towards the end. It's about right here. A thigh bone found here by General Parsons measured 49 inches in length. Mr.
Huh.
Jefferson, who examined the skeleton of one of these animals, says the bones bespeak of an animal 5 or 6 times the entire volume of an elephant.
Wow.
I
That's
don't,
incredible.
I can't even comprehend an animal that size. I don't think there is an animal that size alive today,
No,
is there? Not 6 times the size of an elephant.
no. I mean, looking at you said the thigh bone there. What was it? 49 inches.
49 inches, yeah. It's an
So you,
awfully big thigh bone.
yeah, 49 inches. Bloody hell. I mean, that's got to be sort of over 4 times the average size of a thigh bone, surely.
Yeah.
So what would that make them? I mean, they've got to be sort of, what are we talking? We're talking over 20 feet tall, aren't we?
Oh, easily, I would imagine.
Mm,
By the late Dr. Hunter of London. So this isn't just um skeptical. This isn't just like I can't remember what the word I'm looking for is, but it's not. It's this is real. This is it's true. At the time this was written, that's exactly the definition of this place. We've got
mm,
proper official people involved. It sounds
mm,
like. I've not
mm.
looked into Dr. Hunter of London, but be interesting to see
Yeah,
if we
bloody
find any
hell.
articles he's written about them.
Yeah,
Anyway, so many things to look into, guys.
fabulous
Oh,
falls.
read of that.
So I'm guessing looking at the, yeah, so Minnesota. So this is America again. A lot of them seem to be in America, don't they? An awful
Yes,
lot of them.
yes, they do.
Well, I wonder what happened to those. It is supposed the remains of those were prehistoric man.
Nearly twice the size of an ordinary man's teeth.
Mm, bloody hell. Bloody
Eight
hell.
8 feet tall.
Yeah. Well,
And then when you start to consider the idea of giants, then you can start to understand these old structures. Because you've got,
yeah.
I'll come back on camera a minute. I've got a lot more of these. We'll go through after if you want. I'll come back on camera. Say me sentiments. I'll get back on now. There we go. Right, back. But yeah, these old buildings, when we look at these old buildings,
Mm,
and the doorways are massive, they've got huge steps going up towards them. When you
mm,
start to realize that giants were real, then
mm.
they start to make sense.
Yeah.
And the huge doorways, I mean, alone is a big enough giveaway that someone a lot bigger than people a lot bigger than us have been here before us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I think the construction as well. If someone was twice the size of us or four times the size of us,
Yeah,
then it makes actually building a lot easier too.
yeah, it does. And what's I gonna say then?
I just then I had a picture in my mind. I don't know if you've ever seen somebody plastering a ceiling on stilts.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of plasterers wear stilts, don't they? If they're
yeah,
plastering a ceiling. And it just goes to show, doesn't it?
yeah. A
You
lot
wouldn't
easier if you were taller.
you wouldn't have needed to have done that. And I understand that people will argue that the reason that these windows are so high up in churches and old buildings is to let light in. But that isn't the purpose of a window. That's not the sole purpose of it. They're to look out
Mm.
of.
Yeah,
You know,
to gaze out of. Yeah,
yeah. A room with a view.
you buy. Yeah, like you said, a room with a view. If you go into a hotel or an apartment on holiday, you want to get a room with a view
Mm.
to
And
look.
some of these old buildings, if you look inside, some of these stately homes, if you look at old images of them where they've got artwork up on the walls, some of
Yeah,
them are so high up,
yeah, you can.
people of
Yeah,
our height wouldn't be able to see them. You'd never be able to appreciate or see them. They're too high up. And the same is true of a lot of fireplaces. They're actually too high for you to put anything on or access anything that you have put
yeah,
on there. So sooner or later we're going to have to accept, well, I don't mean you and I, but the
yeah,
mainstream are going to have to accept that giants were a very real
yeah.
thing. And we're not just talking about people that had a genetic disorder, we're
Mm,
talking about thousands and thousands of people
yeah.
of
Different,
colossal
a different
heights.
species entirely to what we are.
Yes, yes. And some of them, I've read several times that some of them had double rows of teeth. I don't know if you've seen
Yes,
that.
the moon-eyed people. Have you
Mm,
heard about them? They believe them to have, but they've found skulls in the area. I can't remember where the place is now, what the area is. But I think is it Minnesota, and they
right.
found skulls with two layers of teeth, two rows of teeth, top and bottom.
Mm. Did you hear about what happened during the conflict in Afghanistan? Did you
That
ever
was
hear about?
Gilgamesh's too.
Yeah, this was another one. Some soldiers went into a cave and they'd
Mm,
seen something in the cave, and they actually got hold of one of these giants. Now I don't know if they killed it completely or if they'd
yeah,
wounded it, but it was airlifted out.
yeah.
Yeah, they got
Look at
it,
that.
and yeah, it was airlifted out. And I did a podcast with an American guy a while back, maybe a month or two ago, and he was there at the time, and he was security. So
Yeah.
he was in the army,
Mm,
in the Marines, but he was actually attached to a security team where they were
yeah.
making sure other people didn't come and see what they were doing. And he
Oh,
was
so very hush hush then.
yeah, and he did, and he also was at the site where they found Gilgamesh's tomb.
And there again, Gilgamesh,
Mm,
16 foot tall.
red hair.
Biblical, yeah, according
Mm,
to the biblical text. And I want to mention it before, but in the Quran, Adam is 60 cubits tall.
yes.
That is 90 foot.
Yeah.
90 foot tall.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is in meters, but your door in your house is 2 meters.
Mm,
You just imagine all them doors stacked on top of each other and just imagine
mm,
how high that is. I'd love to know what that is in meters, but I bet it's a lot.
yeah. Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? And he's not alone there. A lot of biblical figures at all. I think Noah as well.
Yeah,
But when you try and find out the height that they believe Jesus was, they put him at about 5'6", 5'7", and say that that was about average for that time. I
yeah.
think no, it wasn't.
I don't think it will either.
No, no. And I think not just giants, but I think there were also people that were really, really small.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There were both sides of the spectrum,
Mm,
and we
yeah,
still get that now, but a very watered down version compared
yeah,
to what I imagine it used to be like.
yeah, yeah. Totally agree. Because people normally just associate anyone that's above sort of 6'4", 6'6"
It's
with
just a
having
one-off. Yeah, yeah,
giantism. Yeah,
yeah.
they think that it is, a genetic disorder, but it clearly isn't because a lot of
No,
these skeletons that are found, there is no evidence of there being a
no.
deformation or
And then going back to obviously the bigger people, the bigger schools, they've got a bigger brain, so they're obviously more intellect. We'd imagine they'd be more intellectual than us. So which should explain some of this beautiful artistic work we see in these built into the structures. They've
mm,
got obviously great knowledge of cosmology and
mm,
astrology.
yeah,
And is that a result of, I mean, there's a lot more oxygen, I'm led to believe, in the atmosphere back then. And that
yes,
will cause things to grow larger.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, go
I
on.
think that's true of vegetation. I think
Yeah,
that's where these giant trees come from, and animals too. I
yeah,
think everything was bigger. And I think
I
that
do.
that's part of the backstory with dinosaurs. Look at the size of these animals. And I don't think back then things were big. I think that that was how they were supposed to be. And I think it's us that are small. I
Yeah,
think we've been stifled, due to a lower oxygen content. I think everything's stifled.
yeah.
So
And
what
it's only
else?
going to get worse, really, if with the state we
Uh,
pollute the world.
yeah, yeah. People don't realize it, do they? It's in our water, it's in the air, it's
Yeah.
in the food, and then the medical interventions that they offer us. We're being poisoned. We're poisoned from the moment we're born.
Left, right, and centre.
Mm,
There's you can't escape it. If you live, especially if you live the only way you can get away from it is if you live remote. But even then, it's still coming down in the skies and in the water.
yeah. I was looking into. Here we go. We're going to digress again now. I was looking into the Spanish flu today,
Yeah.
and it was about 100 years before the recent pandemic we had in 2020. And it's called the Spanish flu because people believe that's where it started, and it isn't. It was started in a lab that was run by
Yeah.
Rockefeller, John Rockefeller, testing different vaccines and all sorts of forms of influenza. Lots of different
Yeah.
diseases were being researched there, and they jabbed a load of soldiers before they got sent out during the First World War, sent across to Europe. And
Oh,
yeah, and the
yeah.
only
Here we go.
reason that Spain was the first country to report the outbreak was because they were the only newspaper. They were the only country where the newspapers in Europe weren't censored.
Ah, see, when you do a little bit of digging, it starts to reveal, doesn't it?
Gets better. The head scientist,
Yeah.
his surname was Gates.
No, you're joking,
Yeah. So now you look at the king of the vaccines, Gates.
Mr. Gates.
Yeah. Now I can't find a connection. I can't find whether or not they're related, but I'd imagine something like that would be buried. All I know is that Bill
Mm.
Gates' mum worked for IBM and was involved with the barcoding of the Jews during the Second World War.
Yep.
So, that whole family stinks. So it wouldn't surprise me. But there you go. So 100 years after Rockefeller gives everybody Spanish flu, we have another outbreak. Gates gets
Yeah.
involved, and Gates is involved at the first time too. So yeah,
The
these
family
parasites,
tradition. Yeah, it's the
yeah,
family tradition.
the parasites do love to give us, diseases, and well, they like to poison us. They like to keep us in a low vibrational state. And as you're finding out with your research with the giants, they like to hide the truth from us.
And a lot of the things we've spoken about up to now, you can do a quick Google and it's not even hidden.
Uh,
It's not even hidden. It's just no one cares. Well, obviously, there's a lot of us that do care, but the greater majority of the
yeah.
mainstream. I mean, once you look, if you spend an hour looking into it online, just search giant bones found, you're going to find stuff that you cannot provide a logical explanation for other than there were giants
Mm,
alive on
mm,
this planet a very long time ago.
yeah. But
And
are
if
they
you
still
look at,
there?
yeah, I imagine in places underground,
Mm,
but if you look at it biblically, in most religions, the giants were there before the flood. The
yes.
giants were gone after the flood. So I bet there's been people watching this thing and asking the question, well, where have they all gone?
Mm,
Biblically, in a lot of religions, like I said, it's the flood that wiped the majority of them out.
mm.
Yeah. And in the
So
Book
what?
of Enoch, the
Yes.
giants aren't painted in a very good light there, are they? I believe they
Have,
eat people.
have you read the Book of Enoch?
No, I've read certain bits of it. Yeah,
Yeah. There's the Book of Enoch and the Book of Enoch 2.
yeah.
Yeah, there's two books. I haven't read the second one, but I've got the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, and that's really interesting. I would take it away with me, but
You'd be reading all holiday then.
and it's this big.
That,
So I'm not. It's staying here. But yeah, there's the Book of Enoch and the second Book of Enoch as well,
yeah.
which I haven't read yet.
Of course, fallen angels.
Yeah, absolutely. Nephilim.
But
So
Nephilim is in the Hebrew for Nephal, which means to fall.
mm.
So there's more symbolism throughout the languages there.
So what else have you got for us? What else have you
Have a look at the photos. See
been
what
digging? Yeah.
I've been digging in a lot of things, really. Since you look into Tartary, it's just opened up everything, really, because it's all connected.
It is all connected.
I heard people
Absolutely.
saying to me it was all connected, and I didn't get it, but it's all connected. It's all connected. This one's a bit blurry, but we've got this is the Smithsonian people would be proud of a giant of the dimensions of this one. More particulars regarding the giant's dimension prove, struggling to read that,
8 feet in length.
8 feet in length. The skeleton will be on exhibition. I wonder if it is. I wonder if it ever was. I don't think it
Yeah.
was. I doubt it ever was.
No.
It's a bit too blurry, isn't
Oh,
it?
Cyclops.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. God, yeah, I can't read it very well, but I saw the Cyclops bit at the top. Man at least 6 feet. I think that says 6 feet 5 or 6 feet 6 in height.
Yeah.
The skull was taken to Mr. Jefferson as
And
well.
by him examined, it was like ordinary skulls, only larger, except that it had, as far as could be seen, no places where the eyes had been.
This one hole in the center of the forehead.
That might have served for one eye.
Well, that's that again. That's surely to God, that is not a deformity. I mean, how
No.
many people are born with no eye sockets and just one in the middle of your forehead? You see,
Well, that would require a totally different skull.
it would.
And different. I'm sure it doesn't say if it's a large eye, does it?
No.
But I'd imagine it'd be a large eye if it's in. How's he describing it there? In one eye in the center of the forehead. You can't really gauge the size, can you?
No. It's
New New York Times, July 5th, 1891. So this is a well-known newspaper
hmm.
at the time. They don't if they posted stories like this now, guy, I'd read newspaper.
See, from what I understand from the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Anunnaki, that Enki, who, if you follow the story of the Elohim or the Anunnaki, where we were created as a slave race,
Yeah,
their first experiments failed. They couldn't, they kept turning something out that wasn't quite like us. Um, and allegedly, well, so they say in the Epic of Gilgamesh, um, their first experiments using male DNA, and so male DNA from what was Homo erectus,
yeah,
to take their DNA and the male DNA from that and sorry, beg your pardon. Yes, that's quite yeah. No, that is right. Um, no, so this would have been Neanderthal. So they yes, sorry. So they take the male Neanderthal DNA and the Anunnaki female
Right.
DNA, and what they came up with was the Gorgon, the Cyclops, the Banshee, and the two-headed giants. And they were released into the wild and left to fend for themselves. And then Enki goes back to the drawing board and decided that this time he would try splicing his DNA with a female, a Neanderthal female, and artificially inseminate her. So they did it the other way round.
Yeah.
So they found by using what was wandering around here, Neanderthal man, using his DNA and the DNA of a female Anunnaki, they created these giants. And the Cyclops was one of them, along with, as I said, the Gorgon and the Banshee and two-headed giants. And it was only when they used a Neanderthal female and an Anunnaki male that they actually got us to pop out. And that's when they made Adamu, first man. So,
And it's remarkable how much evidence of that there is been found.
mm,
It's not just a book with stories anymore, because a lot of biblical scriptures and writing have been proven by what we've found.
yeah, yeah,
So
so,
it's more like an account of what actually happened. I'm not
yeah,
saying it's exactly what, because obviously the bits have been removed. The Book of Enoch's been removed. There's probably bits been removed that we have no idea about.
yeah,
But I dare say, originally, that's what it was for. This story of creation.
yeah.
Right, so back to the newspapers. Giant skeletons found. Archaeologists to send expedition to explore graveyards in New Mexico where bodies were unearthed. And I'm just going to add to this one here because have you heard of Teotihuacan
Yes.
in Mexico?
Yeah.
Well, the mythology regarding that is that the pyramids on the site were built by an early race of giants.
Wow.
And here we are, New Mexico. Giants have been found.
It's America again, isn't it? We're not being told the truth about
No.
America. I think that is probably, quite possibly, where civilization actually started.
Well, I haven't included them in the album, but I've in my group on Facebook, I've posted about it today, but I've actually found references from my books indicating that Tartaria was, in fact, looks to be inhabiting parts of North America.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at maps of the Earth, then you can see how easily that would have happened. Because if it was spanning across the whole of the top of Asia and Russia,
Yeah.
then it's a very small step to go across to America.
Well, I don't know if you've read my post, but it seems to speculate that there was a landmass there that you could cross.
Yeah, and the water levels. But well, we've had floods, haven't we? We've got the Younger
Yeah.
Dryas to show us that. So the Great Flood certainly would have swallowed up, and I guess that's when we lost Atlantis and perhaps Hyperborea.
Well, this book, guy, was written in 1939, and it says that there's a strait. At that point, don't say that it's been flooded.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll I'll show you after.
So maybe we're not being told exactly the truth. Well, that wouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, would it?
No, I've obviously been lied to.
Yeah.
It's just like the theory of evolution. So where do the giants fit into? They don't, do they?
No, they don't.
Because I'm a believer. I'm not really religious in a sense, but I believe in the creator. I'm not.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe that this is all created. It's got to have been.
Yeah.
There's too there's too much that works perfectly together
Yes.
for it to be an accident.
Oh yeah, I don't believe it was an accident. I don't believe in the Big Bang theory or that we crawled out of the water and suddenly developed the ability to walk and then slowly upright and so on. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all because you know Darwin, who I don't believe in either, his origin of species, the theory of evolution, it doesn't stack up because if you evolve to meet your environment, then why do so many of us burn when we go outside? Why do
Yeah.
all of us have problems with back pain, when we reach a certain age? And why do I get hay fever?
Well, and I always say and think about what animal has evolved into a new species in the 21st century.
Mm,
None.
mm,
And like you've just said there, like we seem to have de-evolved, unevolved. We seem to
yeah,
have gone backwards, like I say, with getting sore backs. The seems certainly in most countries now that the life expectancy is lower.
yeah,
But
yeah.
on this article, sorry, I don't think we mentioned it, but this they're found of 12 feet tall.
Well, 12 feet, bloody hell.
12 feet. Yeah. The men who opened the grave said the forearm was 4 feet long and had a well-preserved jaw of lower teeth, the size
Christ.
of a
New
hickory.
Mexico. Yeah, what a surprise. America again.
Yeah, most of them are,
They are, aren't they?
which is
Yeah.
probably one of the reasons it's covered up so much. Because they obviously, Christopher Columbus wasn't the first man to step foot on the island.
No, I don't even know if he existed. I'm a little bit the
I think
jury's
they're
out
all
on that one.
characters. Well, what with AI that we have today, it can
Mm,
make up the version that we have can make some stories up that if you were being told and you had no reason to think it was a lie, you'd think it were real. And
yeah,
so they could have just said program into AI, make up a new story of creation, and that's what they come out with. And they've made some characters to go along with it
yeah,
and a full new history to match. That's what I think it is. Just a big facade.
yeah. I'll read you a little bit here if you're interested. This is actually from my own book, um, but it's something that I think's relevant because obviously I was telling you a moment ago about how they managed to come up with the two-headed giants and the Cyclops and Banshee and so on,
Yeah,
by doing it round the other way. But it's just a little bit about Gilgamesh.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I won't read the whole thing out, but I'll cut it a bit short. So we know that we had the flood, and uh, yeah. So where am I? So blah 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 blah. Blah. The Anunnaki now had all the gold they needed to repair their planet's ozone. So they drove most of the humans from Eridu, who's then spread across the world. Many of those that remained had relationships with the Anunnaki, and their children were just like Adapa, extremely
Mm.
intelligent, powerful, and considered demigods. Today we know the names of some of these beings. Gilgamesh, Hercules, are two of them. So it,
So what are
it's
labelled as mythical figures today?
yeah. Well, I don't think mythological creatures are mythological at all.
No,
I think
they're
we've just
very
been
real.
told to think that, and I think
Yeah.
dinosaurs were a backstory. I think that
Well,
they.
and it's like unicorns.
Hmm,
That reference I sent you, I should have added that one to the album as well. But that reference I sent you the other day from the same book with that were referenced where the I can't remember the exact quote, but they'd raided a castle and found what they believed to be a unicorn horn.
well, Queen Elizabeth the First bought unicorn horns.
Yeah.
She thought they had medicinal properties, and they used to use them to test. They could do a test with ground unicorn horn to see if food had been poisoned before they ate it.
See, these stories don't come from nowhere, do they?
No, no, I don't think so. But somebody said to me, is it possible that giants, dragons, unicorns, they're still here? They're still around us. We just can't see them.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, when you were a kid, and a lot of people will resonate with this, when you're a kid, You see fairies at the bottom of the garden, monsters in the cupboard or under your bed, and
Yeah.
then one day it stops. And I've always associated that with,
Fluoride.
yeah, the calcification of your pineal gland. I've always associated it with that because they say in
Yeah.
Western civilization, by the time you're about 9 years old, the exposure to fluoride by literally by nine is so severe that your
Yeah.
pineal gland has solidified, it's calcified. So you can't see these things anymore. So is it possible that they are still out there, still around us,
And
and
you're
we
just
just can't
not on the
see
same, you're
we
on the,
can't see them?
yeah, we're
Yeah,
not on the same frequency anymore.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that. And I've also read. I don't know if you heard about the. I think I might have them here somewhere. The books about the. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. Oh, this is the first. No, I want to show you the both. Yeah. So, have you ever heard of this book?
The navigator who crossed the ice walls.
Yeah. So this is where
I don't think so.
people have started putting these maps online. Basically, the guy's got a YouTube channel now. His name's Claudio Nacelli, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he's made AI
Yeah.
videos. He's made his first book into an AI video. It's pretty good to be fair. I'm sort of I'm not sure about AI. I kind of think it's cheating. You know,
Yeah, I do.
it's that map there.
The map of the world.
Yeah, so it's showing you all of the continents that we can't actually physically see, the ones we're not allowed to see. Um,
I think I do believe in the ice wall.
yeah, I do as well. But what was interesting with this is one of the lands that are beyond the ice walls is Tartaria. Um, it's a little bit like they escaped and some people fled,
Yeah.
but in this book, and this is the one written by um, a woman who was born behind the ice wall. So this is the kind of sequel.
Yeah.
Um, and in this one, there are. Let's see if I can find it. There's lots about Tartaria
I'll have to
in
get
this
that book.
second
Yeah.
book. Yeah, it's certainly worth a read. I can't remember her name. So William Morris is the navigator. So he's the
Yeah.
one that the story's about. So he flees on a ship, um, Earth, if you like. He flees our realm, and he goes
Mm.
through the ice wall. There's a passageway. He gets through it, and then he's met.
In a boat. In a
Yeah,
boat. Yeah.
big ship, and then his daughter is born
Yeah.
there. She comes back through, and then she
Mm.
shares her story. Um,
This is a true book then.
well, allegedly. Chap
Supposedly true. Right. Okay.
Yeah, but chapter 22, the giants of Great Tartary who wanted to liberate humanity. The
But
giants
where are
of
they now? We need them now.
I know, and but what's interesting is that in the book it says that the giants, when we went through the reset, 1776, leading up to the reset, that the giants here fought alongside us. So all of
Yeah,
these
see,
civil
that's
wars.
when you look at the history of it, it's very conflicting, isn't it? They're either on our side helping or they're eating us.
Well, if you look at the if you dig deep into the Napoleonic Wars, a lot of the
Mm.
people that survived those wars said that both sides were wearing the same uniform.
Mm.
And here's another, here we go, going right off tangent now. Here's another one for you. World War Two.
Right.
Most of the bombing happened in London, the Blitz.
Yeah.
Nearly all of the bombing that happened in London was in the East End. They destroyed the East End of London.
Yeah. To redevelop.
The area of land that was flattened was the area they wanted to redevelop. They've been trying to for some time. And a man called Goldfinger and another one called
Yeah.
Abercrombie were the
Just
people.
like James Bond.
Exactly. That's where Goldfinger comes from. He was the developer who wanted to literally flatten and rebuild the East End, going right up to Canary Wharf, coming in towards the city.
And
And he wanted
everyone was in the air raid shelters and
and
they
the
didn't
kids
see a thing.
Kids are evacuated. They're in the air raid shelters, like you said, or they're in the underground. A lot of them took shelter in the
Yeah,
underground. So no one saw what happened.
yeah.
So my question is
Personally, if oh, sorry for interrupting, but personally, I'd go for Buckingham Palace. Personally, that'd be my first shot.
exactly, exactly. So Buckingham Palace apparently had a stray bomb land near it or something, or took a couple of dents or something like
Very
that.
convenient.
Same with St Paul's. You'd take Westminster out, Whitehall. You would take out. I mean, taking St Paul's out would really dent the morale. Buckingham
Mm.
Palace would have really upset some
Oh,
people. So
London Bridge, London Bridge.
yeah,
That's a big
so
one.
why not? So if you're flying over from Germany, one of the, and let's
Yeah,
face it, you're going to fly all the way over, turn around and then fly back again. Now I'd query the fuel with that.
yeah,
Um, so so you fly all the way over and you just bomb the just the
yeah,
sort of most deprived area of London. Why? So
yeah.
I've been digging, and yeah, I've really done some digging on that, and I've got some information that I don't know if I can post.
Well, you have to let me know privately.
Yeah, I'll send it to you because I do not know whether or not I can post it because there are problems. Either it will upset the algorithm and
Mm,
I could be banned, or there will be people out there that are so determined that everything they've been told is true that they will
yeah,
be offended by information I found, not by what I think, but
yeah.
by the information I found.
See, that happens, and a lot of people, despite it being proof, you've got solid proof. Despite having that, they're like, no, it's not. They won't have it.
No,
They just won't have it. Some people.
they're the same people that roll up their sleeves if you want to offer them some sort of medical intervention for something that may or may not
Yeah,
exist.
yeah,
And then they'll go back again a few months later for another one.
yeah. Jab me again.
Then another, then another, then another. Yeah, we call them jibber jabbers. That's what Freener and I
Yeah,
call them. Mm.
and then yeah, and then you just fuck then.
Yeah, but do we need these people? Because, they serve a function. We call them NPCs now, don't we? No inner dialogue. They don't question anything. They do whatever they're told to do. They watch the news. They go to
Yeah,
work. They come home. They put the TV on. They've got the news on in the car. The news on at work. They buy the paper, and they do everything. They do the national lottery, thinking that
yeah.
this time maybe it's going to be them. And
Well,
whatever
no,
happens.
yeah. Work all year, go on an holiday. That's great. Work all year, go on an
Mm,
holiday, rinse and repeat.
mm,
But these also, I believe the voice in your head, that is the soul, I believe.
mm.
So then when you look at it like that, because these people apparently don't have the voice, so I'm told.
Yeah, I've had
Half,
people reach
more
out
than
and tell me
half,
that.
yeah, more than half the population don't have the voice. So does
Mm.
that mean they don't have a soul, according to my concept?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? And because a lot of people say that the Cabbage Patch babies, the people that were these babies that were sort of mass produced to repopulate, were
Yeah,
soulless. A lot of
yeah,
people say that. Dolores Cannon said that. She did a lot of research into that, and she, a lot of people think that she's a very credible,
yeah.
uh, you know, voice, if you like. So it's a difficult one because I've had people message me and say I do not have an inner dialogue. There is
Well,
no,
I
no.
just can't imagine what it would be like though,
I
because I
know.
mean, mine guy, oh my God, he's working 24/7, sprouting off
Mm,
smoke coming out my ears.
mm. Yeah, I've
So
always
I
been
just,
the same. Just keep thinking and thinking and
yeah.
thinking,
Tell you what, it'd be
overthinking.
easy. Yeah, overthinking a lot. I'll tell you what, it'd be
Mm.
easy to get to sleep if I didn't have the inside voice.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I struggle. I fall
I
asleep.
do.
I go to bed at 10. I'd go to bed earlier, but my wife really would object to that. She said, "For Christ's sake, man."
You sound just like me, guy.
Well, I'm sort of by about 4, 5 o'clock, I'm awake, and I lie there
Mm.
and I meditate. So I
Yeah,
meditate for about an
good time
hour,
to meditate. Yeah.
and to help me do that, I go through the alphabet. So I've always loved cars. I'm a petrol head. So
Well, off topic, but that's what I do for a living. That's what I've done for my
yes,
career since I was like 12 years old.
Well, that's
mechanic
kind
and
of how I
bodywork.
started out. I worked for an automotive manufacturer, a company that made car parts, like big
Yeah,
car part manufacturer. And then I worked for a company that imported car alarms into the
yeah.
UK from America. The company was called Clifford.
Oh, Clifford.
Yeah,
My
that
dad had a
there.
Clifford car alarm.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, that was me. So yeah, so I was the main retailer for Clifford in the UK. That's what I did. I
Yeah.
set up a company to do that. Yeah, so I was involved with a TV show your dad might know called Pimp My Ride.
I know about Pimp My Ride guy.
Oh, well, I was Pimp My Ride UK. I did go out to America and met the West Coast Customs crew, but I worked on the show here, and then I
Very cool.
wrote. Yeah, I wrote. I used to write occasionally. I did the back cover for most of the car magazines, and I wrote for a magazine called Max Power.
I know Max Power as well. Blooming heck.
Oh, well, yeah, I used to write for that magazine so
Wow.
back in the day. But so what I do is I go through the alphabet. So I lie there and I used to do the breathing, but now I can't. So now I start off with A, and I think of
Yeah.
three cars. It has to be three because of my thing about Nikola Tesla. So
Right.
three cars that begin with an A. So I think like Astra,
Yeah.
Toyota Avensis is one, Ford Anglia.
Yeah. It's an old one.
B and C, and then you get, some of the letters Q. All I can get is Qashqai. Can't think of another one.
Put me on the
Y,
spot like that. But Qashqai's a good one, yeah.
yeah, Y is another one. Toyota Yaris. Can't think of three. Z, I mean Vauxhall Zafira.
Oh,
Don't
you got your
like a
Audis. You
F4
got
Zephyr.
Audi
Has to
Q2.
has to be a word.
Oh, word.
I've made it
Oh,
harder for myself.
right. I
Yeah,
see.
and then you get to E. After Ford Escort, all there are, as far as I can see, are cars made by Lotus. Lotus
Lo-
Esprit,
Evora,
Lotus
yeah.
Anne, yeah, and so on. That I can't. So some of them are a lot harder than you think.
Got Range Rover Evoque.
Yeah, but Range Rover, Land Rover is the make, so Range Rover's
Oh,
the car.
oh, so I go right.
Yeah, so I'm really strict with myself, otherwise it's too easy. So that's what I do to go to sleep, because like you, I've just got this inner dialogue that's constant.
Well, I have a smoke sometimes. That manages to quieten it down.
Yeah, I can't do that. It just makes me paranoid. But I used to, and it did
Yeah.
help. And then I started taking magnesium.
Did that help as well?
It did, and then slowly it stopped working. I've tried all sorts of things. I even had a potion made by an alchemist.
Yeah. Did that
Yeah,
do
and
anything?
no, 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 nothing. So, but it's never been falling asleep that's been my problem. It's been staying asleep.
I'm all right once I'm gone.
Uh, yeah, nah. I reckon on a good night, if I could get 5 hours, I'd be happy with that.
I can function off from four upwards, but ideally I like to get seven.
Do we need sleep? Do we need to eat?
Well, there's a
There's
man in
evidence
India,
suggesting we don't.
a man in India called Prehad Jahani, and he claimed that he didn't eat or drink. Or I think he drank water, but he didn't eat anything for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Researchers went over to see him, and I think they put him in a room, and they only let him out so he could ground himself and look at the sun. And
Mm,
they said they were amazed after 45 days he didn't eat. Oh no, he didn't drink water because he didn't go to the toilet either. They said when
mm,
they'd done tests, his his body had made water. His body had made water itself,
mm.
and that's what was sustaining him. But he said all he did was ground himself. He said half
Yeah.
an hour in the morning on sunrise, I stare at the sun, and then on when the sun falls, half an hour. He said because it's too bright in the daytime, will damage your
Yeah.
eye. And yeah, like I said, it's quite heavily documented online, even on the mainstream on Google.
Mm.
But 45 days a week, I mean, he didn't eat anything or go to the toilet.
I spoke to somebody, I think it was yesterday. Um, there's an event
Yeah,
here called here in England called Shine, the Shine Festival, and they
right.
have people like me and people like John Hamer and other authors there, and people talking about like Richard Vobes talking about sort of truth seekers and fighting for our rights, and he was quite ill, he had pancreatitis, and
Yeah.
he didn't eat anything for 7 months.
Yeah.
Nothing, just
Good,
water.
yeah.
He just drank water for 7 months, and when he had tests at the end, he was showing that he was just slightly deficient in protein. That was it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they
So
made
now,
that. I think in the mainstream now they make. I think from my belief, I thought 10 days after not eating, you die,
yeah,
regardless of
bullshit.
how much water you drink. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's what I was taught.
yeah, and he said the same thing, that it's to do with sunlight. It's to do with direct
Yeah,
sunlight that
we
you're
need it.
getting. Yeah, you're getting what you need from the sun. This it doesn't look like we need to eat to the extent that we
That we
do.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
and when you look at sun cream, for example, looking at it, the bigger picture. So before sun cream were released to the mainstream, skin cancer weren't and melanoma wasn't heard of as much.
no,
And then sun cream gets released within
hmm
6 months, 8 months. A lot more people are getting skin cancer, and you can't ignore correlations like
no,
that. You can't say, "Oh, it's just coincidence," because there's nothing, no such thing as a coincidence.
no. I agree, and it's funny you mentioned that because my youngest son Sam, he's got a channel on YouTube called The Simple Life with Sam.
Yeah,
And he was on Richard Vobe's show probably 6 months ago now, maybe even longer than that. And yeah, it probably was last year sometime. And he said he was talking about sun cream, and he said
yeah.
exactly the same thing. And he also said when you rub something into your skin, it's absorbed into your bloodstream.
Well, your skin's the third kidney.
Yeah. So if you're not prepared to drink it, don't rub it in your skin.
Yeah,
So if you won't, like girls, if you're not prepared to sit there and literally eat some lipstick, or have a little dab of some foundation, or squirt
yeah.
some concealer in your mouth, and if you're too scared to do that,
Don't
then
put it on your
what the
face. Yeah.
fuck are you doing it rubbing it into your skin, because it's going in your bloodstream one way or another, and people don't
Oh, yeah.
realize that.
Olive oil. It's the best sun cream for you.
I just I work with the mad dogs and Englishmen theory. I keep out of the midday sun, so
Yeah,
I don't use anything. And if I burn, then we use aloe vera. And
yeah.
when we've been in Portugal before, then I've seen lots of the Portuguese actually just snap a piece of cactus and
And
wipe
rub it on
it.
them.
Yeah, yeah,
I do
that's
that with
their
aloe vera. Yeah.
after sun, best after sun you can get. So yeah,
Greek yogurt's good as well. Greek yogurt.
yes,
The
yeah,
holiday I've just been on 2 weeks. I did put some cream on. I burnt quite badly. Yogurt, but I've mixed yogurt with honey, fresh honey. Rubbed it on. Slept in morning. I was still a bit red, but there were no stinging. And then
mm,
for the days after the holiday, fine. Didn't burn. Obviously, like you say, you got to have a bit of common sense. Don't be in the sun all the time.
mm.
But now I've got a better tan than my missus. She's not very happy about it.
Funny, isn't it?
Yeah. But because it's the thing we've gone quite off tangent from giants here.
Mm,
But the thing for me with sun cream is I was under the impression if you put sun cream on, you won't burn.
mm.
But every time I put sun cream on, I still burn. So I
Yeah.
thought, what's going to happen if I don't put it on? And not much fucking difference, to be quite honest with
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just I just stay in the shade,
you.
and obviously being follically challenged,
Yeah.
I wear a hat, and I just limit how long I'm in the sun for.
That's all you've got to do. Just have a
Mm.
bit of common sense about it.
Yeah, yeah, just cover up. So I tend to wear shirts on holiday, long sleeve shirts,
Yeah.
and obviously they're not done up fully,
Yeah, yeah,
because I can cover myself, and then I in the evening I just like linen trousers, so I'm
yeah.
wearing light breathable clothing, and I can
It's
cover,
comfy. Yeah,
yeah, and I can cover up literally everything. The only thing exposed is my hands. So
yeah.
I'm just careful, but my wife obviously was born with a head start, so being mixed race,
Yeah,
she doesn't burn, she just goes browner. She goes
yeah.
darker and darker. And at the moment, she says she's milky tea.
Yeah.
and she doesn't like it. She's too pale. She doesn't like
Milky
it. So
tea.
she
That's a
says,
good
"Oh,
one.
milky tea again. Look at me." And I said, "Look at you. Look at me." And I'm like, "I've been dipped in a bottle of Tipex. Come on."
That'll soon change though with your holiday coming.
Yeah, I'll be nice and red soon. So where were we with the Giants? Because my brain literally just went off somewhere. With yours, obviously. I think it maybe went to the pub and had a beer or something.
Yeah. I've got a few more things I've found about giants, but in Mayan mythology, they believe that the giants hold up the four corners of the sky.
Really?
Yeah. In certain parts of Mayan mythology. So it makes you wonder, are all they tied? They must all be tied together because they can't have every ancient culture and religion talking about giants, us finding giants, and then it turns out
Yeah,
giants aren't real. I mean, come
yeah,
on. It's in front
yeah,
of us. It's right
yeah,
there with proof.
yeah. Yeah, and this is my argument with Tartaria that where you have these buildings that look very similar, the Greco-Roman style buildings. These civilizations had no way of communicating.
Yeah,
So how would they be talking about giants in South America and also talking about giants, you know, in the opposite side of the world
yeah,
without actually communicating? These are common stories. Same as
yeah,
our creation, the story of the Elohim, the story of the Anunnaki, these beings that come out of the sky or come out of the water and share information with us, share technology with us, and um, farming, mathematics, education, astrology, and so on.
yeah,
Which they're all shown these things and they all tell the same story. That I wonder if a friend of mine who I've had on my channel before called now I can never say his name properly. It's Gilles Tessier or
yeah,
Gilles Tessier. He says that he believes that the Earth is a bit like a lump of Swiss cheese. It's full of holes. There are
yeah,
tunnels and civilizations, and that the smart people live underground, and we're up
yeah.
here
Getting
subjected
burned
to
to a crisp.
burn or soaked. We're freezing cold, or we're
Yeah,
boiling to death. We're up here being exposed to everything and radiation,
yeah,
and they are beneath us. So
yeah. And it seems to
is that
it
where the
there
giants
seems to
went?
be a stable heat underground as well, doesn't it? Do you think?
I don't know, but I just think the story of Agartha or Shambhala, is that where the giants went? Because what I was saying, like with the book about what happened with when the Tartarian Empire or the Millennial Reign, whatever you want to call it, when the old world, the old civilization collapsed,
Yeah,
that the giants fought alongside us, and and I've read that the reason that they didn't stay here, the reason that they disappeared, they went into hiding, they went into caves, they went underground, they went through the ice wall or wherever they went to, was because they took so many casualties, they lost so many lives, these
yeah,
the giants, that they couldn't continue to stand and fight with us. They had to go.
yeah.
They'd lost too
Otherwise, to be
many.
extinct. Yeah,
Yeah, and that was their fear of coming back to help us
happen
again.
again. Yeah,
Mm,
understandable.
mm,
And like you said, everyone says the same story apart from us
yeah,
in history. They all paint obviously not the exact same, but very similar story. And then the story we get given is just miles away
mm,
from what their story is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So we see when you look at history and you think, well, let's see what other civilizations believed. They all believe very similar things, and then we
Yeah.
don't believe anything like that. I can go back to some pictures. I've got some footprints as well.
Yeah, yeah. Show us what else you got.
And then here we go. Right, this is the one in Mexico. So what was this? 200 skeletons of men, each above 8 feet in height. The cave was evidently the burial place of a race of giants who antedate or predated the Aztecs.
Bloody hell.
Eight
Measured
feet
18
11
inches.
inches, and his molars were
Ed.
big enough to crack a coconut. Imagine a man. that's big enough, he can put a coconut in his mouth and break it with his back teeth.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Because my head is probably the same size as a coconut.
It's bizarre, isn't it? That, and it's the same thing all the time, isn't it? We're seeing it in America, and I imagine this is Smithsonian's again. They're all going
Yeah.
somewhere, aren't they?
They're all going to the Smithsonian in America, and that's 1908. So that's not
Mm,
even that long ago.
no, it's not. No.
And then before I mentioned Lovelock Cave,
Mm,
and we had the cave was sealed off and obviously set on fire, and the giants died inside.
mm,
This is the supposed handprint. This one's a bit of a better. So
bloody hell.
I don't know, but I mean something left that print on there.
Mm,
And then you look, so it could be, I don't know, it could be, you've got one, two, three, four, five fingertips. That could be the palm in the center.
yeah, yeah, I think so.
So it could well be an handprint.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly what it looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that's a big one.
Mm,
Judging by that knife, I don't know how big that is. Could be 16 inches, maybe.
yeah,
So that's pretty big, big hand.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look, if he placed a, it's a shame he doesn't put his palm in the middle of it.
Yeah, that
It'd
would
give
be
us a
better.
much better idea because,
Well, when you look at his hand there,
yeah,
and then that's probably the same size as that little portion there,
yeah,
not the
yes,
rest of it. Yeah, when you look at it like that next to each other, side by side,
yes.
blooming heck. I bet. Well, some of these footprints, like we'll get to the footprints in a sec.
Mm.
But like this sarcophagus found in Egypt,
Mm.
who's that? Who's that for? You know, it's made that size for someone that big. You'd imagine. I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah, that is incredible. So we don't know who's in there then. The cover of one of the big coffins in Davis's too. Oh, that's not much of help, is it?
No,
One of the big coffins.
this is. I've searched that online, and all it brings up is this image.
Mm. So it's either not well documented on purpose or it's been buried.
Yeah, well, it's gone.
Mm.
Here we go. Ralph Glidden, who I mentioned before, found over
Yeah,
3,000 skeletons that were all average height, 7 to 9 feet tall. And in the Catalina Museum, I could be wrong where it is, but there was a museum that had a box that was supposedly his, and then that were lost in the museum, and they found it. They opened up the box, found a lot of his memoirs, and they found these pictures in there as well.
bloody hell.
So I mean, it's quite well documented, Ralph Glidden, to be honest. If you look into it, but he found over 3,000 skeletons. Some people say over 4,000. Where are they?
Yeah,
That's a lot of skeletons.
yeah. Well, I think we can guess where they are, can't we?
Yeah.
Those
I don't even.
bastards.
I think they. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not even in existence anymore. If they've been
Mm,
destroyed, because they probably knew at some point people are going to start digging,
mm,
and it's going to be easier to destroy something and deny it than hide it.
mm. Yeah.
This is another one.
Bloody hell, I can't read that. It's too blurry.
No, skeleton of Mount. Probably no. It's in Ohio.
America again.
So that could be. I think. Oh, I think this is one of the Moon-eyed people because this is. I think this is a skeleton with 2 rows of teeth,
Right.
which lines up with it being in Ohio.
Yeah. Bloody hell. Oh my God.
Have a look at that. Who's
Mm,
left that in there?
mm.
Interestingly, the stone's been turned over at some point in history.
Mm.
That one. Six six toes maybe though. Or maybe the
Yeah, could
pinky
be.
toes at a very funny angle.
Yeah.
But that is a giant footprint
Yeah.
in stone. And
Yeah.
the moss in the depths of the toes matches the moss on the outside of the stone,
Mm.
indicating that it's probably been like that for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, again,
Bloody hell.
it's obvious at this point that we're missing some pieces of history.
We are.
I'm coming back.
Yeah. I sort of wonder with all of this if we're ever going to find out the truth because like with the Smithsonian Institute, we know that everything in America that's been found like that ends up there, and then they
Yeah,
deny having it, or
they've
you know,
lost it.
there's an asbestos or
They've
there's some
lost
sort of
it,
damage.
or they've lost it.
Yeah.
They lose a lot of things, to be fair. It's a
So do you?
problem. Who put them in charge of looking after
I
our
know,
history?
I know, I totally agree.
I don't remember anyone voting for them.
And I just think is that the equivalent of the Vatican vaults?
Yeah,
Because as far as I'm aware, the Vatican vaults are just full of really scriptures, texts and scriptures.
and
But
books. Yeah,
but if you find something in, let's say in Germany or in Africa or in Asia, where does that go? Where do
yeah.
the remains of a giant go that are found there? Now, I'm not totally sure about this, but it's either Bolivia or Peru
Mm.
have a museum where they actually have this giant skeletons on display.
Yeah, yeah. There's another one of them in. I think I've got this written down. Ecuador. There's a 7 meter skeleton on show in the museum in Ecuador.
7 meter.
7 meters tall. Yeah,
Bloody hell. So maybe it's Ecuador that I'm thinking of.
could be.
Yeah.
But it's. I don't know if the article that I read was from 2004, and that's when they found giant bones in the area, and they've reconstructed this 7 meter tall human,
Mm,
what appears to be human.
mm.
If you Google it, Ecuador 7 meter skeleton, I should have saved the pictures, but you'll see it there, and it is remarkably tall.
Bloody hell.
7 meters, and if you're 7 meters tall, it's going to be a lot easier to build some of these massive structures.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be
Yeah.
easier to traverse the world.
Mm,
Everything would be easier if you're bigger.
mm.
But
Yeah.
but like I say, with the oxygen's more in the atmosphere, everything else is going to be bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger trees, bigger animals,
Mm,
everything.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen things, haven't we? We've seen books, we've seen musical instruments.
Yeah,
There was an image, some people have found huge swords.
yeah,
Um, I put
yeah,
I wrote an article a little while ago about something called the punt gun.
yeah,
Allegedly that was used to go and shoot ducks. But
yeah.
it took two people to carry it. The kickback on it could be anything from 10 to 20 feet.
A little bit like,
And if you mount it, and they reckon they mounted it on boats, little rowing boats, and they'd go out there and one blast from this, and you could take out quite a few ducks.
yeah. It might blow you across the river as well.
Exactly, and I just thought, well, this seems a very strange process to go through to make something to shoot ducks.
Yeah, so
So,
it probably
I,
downsized. Yeah,
yeah, and I just think that this is taking something and repurposing it. So
mm,
I think there are a lot of things out there. I've also seen boots as well, like sort of what appears to be army
yeah,
fatigue, sort of military style boots
yeah,
that are absolutely enormous. There are images out there of things that are just too big, and musical instruments is quite a common one.
yeah.
You can find
That's
all
true.
sorts of them that are way too big for us to use. And
Like you
they
mentioned with swords, I've looked into that myself.
mm,
I think it's in Switzerland again. I think it's in Switzerland, but there's a museum there, and they have a 14-foot long sword on show.
yeah. So how on earth would you?
Yeah, to swing that, you
Yeah.
need to be bigger than 14 feet.
Mm,
Because imagine I'm 6 foot tall. Well, I am 6 foot tall. Do you have to imagine? But a sword, I'd probably want a foot and a half, two
mm,
foot. That'd probably be perfect to chuck around.
mm,
So if you're 14 foot, you probably imagine you're maybe 28, 30 foot tall.
mm,
Wield it efficiently and effectively.
mm.
And otherwise, all them years ago, because this sword I'm talking about is dated to the 14th century. So all them years ago, they wouldn't have wasted the material and the time to make a sword that no one can use.
No, no, absolutely not. It would serve
It's
no
it's
purpose.
just pointless. Yeah,
Yeah. And we weren't doing things. If we follow the historical narrative, they weren't building things like that or making things like that for fun or display.
No, it was all for purpose.
Yeah, we didn't have the manpower, the resources, the materials to just make something like that for just the hell of it.
Yeah,
So I just don't believe any of the backstory, and I just think it's strange that, I've grown up thinking that giants are evil. That Jack and the Beanstalk is a good example of that, and before
yeah,
that, before we had children's stories, we've got the stories in the Bible like David and Goliath. The giant being
yeah,
slayed. It's always the giant. Someone's always trying to kill the giant or attack the giant, and we've just been told this so many times that it's a bit like Genghis Khan. He's a bloodthirsty lunatic. He's a warmonger, and whenever there is some sort of something that they don't want us to follow or don't want us to give any credit or even for one moment consider that they might actually be um, benevolent,
yeah,
we're given this sort of narrative that we're supposed to despise them, fear them or hate them, and I think that I think that's done on purpose, and I think that they've done that throughout history with lots of people.
yeah,
Even recently, we're told with what's going on in the world right now that we're given a list of all the bad guys, leaders of countries that are bad, and I
yeah.
and I often think, whether we're talking about Russia or North Korea, is it at all possible that we're not being told the truth because we're lied to about
Yes.
everything else? So what if these people are actually good guys?
I think this myself, North Korea, because everything you hear about North Korea is terrible.
Mm,
But is it? I mean, you hear the stories that you can't leave. And if that's true, you can't leave. And if you do leave, all your family gets imprisoned. Don't get me wrong, if that's true, that's terrible.
mm,
But I don't know, you don't know, do you? It's all Western media. Just tells you one story, and
mm,
that's their story. You don't get to hear the other side of the story.
mm.
But yeah, I think everything has been made up.
Yes, I think so.
Because reading that book that I've just got the giant references from, I've got references to a multitude more strange things, not related to
Mm,
Tartary, but just strange in general.
mm.
And it's like reading a book about a different world guy.
Well, the interesting thing is with that, what you just said about everything being a lie, is that there is this, I don't believe Napoleon Bonaparte existed.
Yeah.
Or certainly Napoleon didn't exist in the way that we've been told, because by 25 he's the most powerful man in Europe. He's he, he can go with an army with far less men than the army he's facing and
And
defeat them.
always win, yeah.
Yeah, because of his strategy, his plans were meticulous, and
Yes. Very clever man. For
yeah,
25 years old. He's got a lot of years served.
and he's when he's not doing that, he's writing romantic novels and poetry, and no living descendants. Surprise,
Mm.
surprise. And
He was a dab
Napoleon,
hand at everything. Everything he
absolutely,
tried, he was a professional.
yeah. And I just think that the interesting thing with him is I don't think he existed, or at least not in the way we've been told. And his most famous quote, and this is from Napoleon,
Mm.
allegedly, is that history is a set of lies agreed upon.
Oh, well, we can agree on that then.
So the very man who may well not have existed is credited with
Yeah.
a quote that says exactly that.
Yeah. Which
It's
might be
all
why
bullshit.
come from him. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Wasn't he quite
perfect.
small as well, from my
Apparently
memory?
so. Yeah, and
Like
he's another
four
one of
foot
these.
tall or something.
Yeah, yeah, and hidden. And any images you see of him, he's got his hand tucked in, showing that
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
Freemason, which he wasn't. If you read his story, he wasn't, and there it is, the symbology of it. So I think that again, just like the Giants, they give us these stories, these backstories to kind of dismiss things or make us accept things. So if you stood in the street and said that I believe giants existed and they may still be wandering around now and some of them were 20, 30, 40 feet tall,
Mm.
people would laugh at you.
Yeah, they would.
And that's because they're supposed to. They're not supposed, most people are not supposed to get this. They're not supposed to understand. And, we're all trying to wake everybody up. And I think the problem is not everybody is supposed to be woken up. I think the people,
Yeah. Some
you know,
people don't want to wake up.
no, they don't. They don't. And I don't think they're supposed to.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with my mum. She's 75, and I said to her that, I can tell you, she'll mention something to me. And she was talking about the red ants that are causing a problem in Australia at the moment. They're going to have to
Mm.
bleach all the farmland out there. And I said, of course, you know this isn't true, Mum. There won't be a problem with that. What they're doing is they're destroying the farmland, a little bit like over here where they're
Yeah.
chemtrailing. And then we've got the tax, the inheritance tax with farms. They're trying to stop farming, and that is so
Yeah.
they can force feed us, literally force feed us crap. So we've got
And
no
that's
option.
already started because hasn't Keir Starmer signed a deal with Trump to allow the importation of American beef?
Yes, yes, and
So it's already started. It's already started.
see, I can't call him that. I have to call him Jimmy Savile's friend.
Jimmy Savile's friend. Well, he is.
Yeah, the man
He
who
is.
got Jimmy off the
He
hook.
did get him off as well. Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah. So yeah, Jimmy's friend, he's at the end of the day, I think it's important that people understand that voting is something you must never do because
Yeah.
these people don't decide anything. It's the think tanks, the World Economic Forum, Bilderberg
Mm.
Group, Trilateral Commission, World Health Organization. They're the people that actually pull the strings. Starmer and his mates have got no power whatsoever. They're just delivering.
Puppet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're puppets. Yeah, delivering other people's demands. And
They're just the face of it. Yeah.
yeah, and the only way you can collapse this system is if everybody doesn't vote. If everybody said we're not voting, then they can't form a government. We would
Yeah.
have no government. And that has happened before, not just in this country years ago, but it's happened in other countries too. They've had periods of time when there has been no government. And apparently everything ran a lot better. A little bit like if you turn the traffic lights off at a roundabout, all of a sudden,
Yeah. It
or they're,
works.
the roundabout works properly again.
Yeah.
So I think people have to, if we want to get the truth out there and we want to find out our true history, we've got to remove these people and actually self-govern, have no government at all. We've got to remove them, and not voting is the only way we can really do that. But how do you get people that will roll their sleeve up and take
Yes.
whatever's on offer to not vote? They genuinely believe that okay, we don't like Labour. Look at what they've done. They lied. So we're going to vote for somebody else next time just to spite them. I think it doesn't matter. This is
It don't
already.
matter.
It makes no difference who you vote
Yeah.
for. Don't bloody vote. Don't watch the news. Don't buy the newspapers. Don't vote. Don't participate. And find out what companies support the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum, like Walmart and Asda are a good
Yeah.
example. McDonald's is another one. And boycott them.
Eat local.
Yeah,
Better for you.
absolutely.
Probably cheaper.
Yeah.
Not in all cases, though. Don't get me wrong. Fresh fruit and veg seems to be an expensive commodity in Britain now.
Yeah, but I think it's more nutritionally beneficial. I think the nutritional value is higher
Yeah.
in real food,
Oh
so
no,
you
of
don't
course, yeah.
need as much of it. So, someone who
Yeah.
sits and stuffs their face all day eating mass-produced,
Crap.
highly processed food is going to need a lot more of it.
Yeah.
If you and I went and had, a jacket potato that was grown here and some
Mm.
steak that was grass-fed, and it hadn't had any chemicals pumped into it or filled full of water, we would get more nutrition from
Yeah.
that than someone who sits and eats all day long.
Yeah, and a lot of you're right there. And with fruits, a lot of fruits now they're bred to not have seeds in them.
I know. So
But you
it's
want
not
the
a fruit,
seeds.
is it?
You want the seeds because if there's no seeds, then there's no life.
Exactly. And by definition, isn't a fruit something that bears seeds?
Yeah,
So a
that is what a
grape
fruit
with
is. Yeah.
seedless grapes, you try and find grapes without seed
When I
with
went Greece, when I've just been Greece on, I've come. That's the only place I've found recently where I can buy seeded grapes,
ah, that doesn't surprise me. I'm
and
looking
they
forward to
and they're great. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say I'm looking forward to going to Portugal, in a couple of days' time because I can eat proper fruit.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
think they're doing you a favor by selling you grapes that haven't got seeds in them. It's almost been sold as a convenience thing, and well, you haven't got
yeah,
to spit them out. Well, then it's not a fruit. If a fruit is something that bears seeds, then that
yeah.
grape, that orange, even watermelon without seeds, it's not. It's not fruit. It can't be by definition if it doesn't bear a
Yeah,
seed, it isn't fruit. I don't know what it is. It looks like fruit, but it isn't technically.
genetically modified, what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Modified to what none of us asked for.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like I grew up, well, my grandma and my dad, a lot of people in my family are quite avid gardeners. And my
Mm,
grandma, she's always growing strawberries, rhubarb, and the strawberries she grows in a garden are sweeter and redder than any strawberry I've had from the supermarket.
mm,
So what they're doing, I don't know what they're doing with them. It might,
mm.
I think they're probably genetically modified to grow quicker as well, and that
Yeah,
probably negatively affects other things in the fruit.
yeah.
You can't speed it up and expect, which is probably why they're not as sweet because they don't have enough. They don't have enough time to grow the sugars.
Well, it's funny you say it because I never used to like tomatoes. You know, I didn't mind if they were in a
Mm.
salad or a sandwich, but I wouldn't sit there and actually eat a tomato.
Oh, I would. Yeah.
Well, I didn't. I'd never done that until I went to Sorrento. Went to friends of ours got married in Italy,
Yeah.
in Sorrento, and at the wedding, when we got there, the hors d'oeuvres came round, and one of them was a little baby octopus, this tiny little purple thing,
Yeah.
and the other one was this just this sort of I can't remember how is it bruschetta, this
Oh, yeah.
sort of
Bruschetta.
bruschetta,
Yeah.
and it had just a couple of small tomatoes on it chopped up with a little bit of
Yeah.
olive oil. And I looked at it, I turned my nose up, and I thought I'd rather eat the bloody octopus, which I did, and it was horrible. And then my wife said to me, just try it. Just try the bloody tomatoes and see what they're like.
They're lovely.
They were so sweet. And
Yeah.
I thought it was only then that my brain finally accepted that a tomato is a fruit. Up until then,
I think it's a fruit. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I understand that it's a fruit, but to me, fruits, in my mind, fruits are sweet, and I could never get my
Yeah.
head around the fact that something that tasted like a tomato could be considered to be a fruit. And I know there are things like gooseberries and crab apples and so on, but cooking apples, but you
Yeah.
know, to me, the tomato, I understand it's a fruit, but it just doesn't bloody taste like one until I had a real one.
And then it did taste like
Yeah,
fruit.
yeah, made
You
perfect
know, there's
sense then.
also nicotine in tomato.
Yes, yes, very good for you, isn't it,
Yeah.
nicotine?
It
Mm,
is. Which they
yeah.
don't tell you that either, do they?
No, they don't. I mean, I'd imagine tobacco probably, well, it's a medicinal product, isn't it? It's grown for medicinal purposes
Yeah.
across the world until they get it here. And of
And
course,
then they add 50 chemicals to it.
yeah. Um, and of course, one of the largest, historically in this country, one of the largest manufacturers of cigarettes
Mm.
is Rothmans, which is the Rothschilds. Um,
Oh my God, I never even put that together. I never even thought of
Yeah, yeah. So that's the Rothschilds. So Rothmans is based in Aylesbury in Buckinghamshire, where the Rothschilds Waddesdon Manor is.
that.
So yeah, so they own the Rothmans cigarette brand, and it wouldn't surprise me if they were the first people to start putting the chemicals into them,
Yeah.
because tobacco is a medicine. It's only when they go through their process that it becomes a problem.
So not only have they demonized nicotine, they've also turned it harmful.
Yeah, which is what they do with everything else, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely everything else they've poisoned.
Yeah. Not
That was
just
a
the
bit
food,
negative,
but the
wasn't it?
history. It's true though, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Well, we're going to wrap up now.
All right.
Um, just one thing before we go. I've asked you this before, but give me a conspiracy theory that's got nothing to do with any of this that you're not necessarily currently researching, but something that you think about now and again.
I think about if it is really an earthquake machine in Antarctica, and if so, is that the cause of every single earthquake on Earth?
Right. The earthquake machine in
The
Antarctica.
neutrino detector, yeah.
Hmm.
And Tesla patented an
Mm-hmm.
earthquake machine.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, because then I think if this is God's realm, surely it'd only be God that'd be able to do such a thing as an earthquake.
Mm.
So if it's not him doing it, who else is doing it?
Mm.
So I think, yeah, that's a conspiracy I think about a lot.
I suppose it depends who God is, because, for me, I think they're talking about Enki and Enlil, because
Yeah,
in the Old Testament it's plural. Um, but for some people it's Zeus, the jealous God.
yeah.
The jealous
I
God
don't
is
know.
Zeus.
I don't know who I think God is. I thought God to me is the creator of the world.
I think that yeah, I think that there is a source of energy that created everything,
Yeah,
but I think
I
there are
don't know if
false gods.
I don't know if it's material or if it's spirit. I don't know, but
Mm,
there's an entity, we'll say, that is God that created all this.
yeah, yeah, and I think the other things that have come along, like Enki, Enlil, Zeus, and so on, they're not gods. They just appear as gods to
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
and they're
They
just
might be gifted
mislabeled.
with more intellect and
Yeah,
intelligence.
just higher intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, more a superior or supreme being. I don't think that they created
Mm.
everything, but I think that they can do things we can't, and
Yeah,
maybe
so
they're a lot bigger than we are.
lesser God
Yeah,
in a sense.
yeah,
We've covered quite a lot, I think,
we
so
have. Yeah, we certainly have.
gone on a
Well,
few tangents.
yeah, well, I think it's nice to do that.
Yeah,
Um, well, thank you, Jordan. Thank you for joining me. It's
it's a
lovely to
pleasure.
chat with you again.
Hopefully there'll be more yet.
Oh, I'm sure there will.
As
I'm
long as
sure
I
there will.
keep reading, I keep finding some crazy things.
Yeah, yeah, you keep doing it. And the book that I'll just show you quickly before I go. The book that I posted today, it's got a new cover on it because it's really old, but that's it there. I don't know how well you can you see that or is
Yeah,
it out of focus?
into the obligations of Christians and the use. Huh.
Yeah, so they've recovered it. It's very old.
The one that 1695 one I've got on the way. I've also got 1707 and 1740, I think it is.
Bloody hell.
They're all getting restored at the minute because they're in poor condition, but should be done around end of month. So I tell you what, I might have a book a few days off work just to start reading.
Yeah, sit and read them.
Yeah,
This is the one I'm taking on holiday. This is my latest book, and really kind. John Amos sent me this. Um,
60 degrees south beyond the
yeah,
Arctic.
yeah.
That's a
So
good
it's
read.
just it just literally come out. So this is my read. So that's going with me to Portugal. Right, on that bombshell, as they say on Top Gear or the Grand Tour,
Nice.
depending on what you're watching. It was a pleasure and an honor as always.
As always, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. I shall speak to you soon, my friend.
You certainly will.
Take care, Jordan.
Thank you.
Bye for
See
now,
you.
mate. Bye bye.
Bye.
You know for a fact there are aliens.
Yes, 100%.
Our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel.
This is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page.
This is a Fox News alert. The Epstein files have been released.
Across the pond.
You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening.
Very serious.
Now.